Hi, I'm Kathy Penny. I blog at Penny Lane, and there I share family travel tips for everyone. But each trip I share, I try to include a special needs mom's perspective. My son, his primary diagnosis is ADHD, and that can certainly make traveling a challenge. But we've been traveling with him since he was about 3 years old, so for 4 years. And in those 4 years, we've learned some things. And so I wanted to share some tips to hopefully make traveling with your special needs kiddo a little bit easier and maybe the learning curve a little bit shorter. One of the big things that you can do to make traveling with them easier is simply just to prepare them. Talk about what's going to happen, what they're going to experience, sights and sounds. Our first flight when he was 3 years old, we bought a book, and I don't have it here to show you, but you should be able to hopefully get it on Amazon. It's called The Noisy Plane Ride. And that book just took step by step what he could expect going through the airport. And it was a huge help. And even when we got there, you know, he's like, the next step is going to be X. And, you know, he knew that from his book. So he was confident and he was prepared. And then another thing you can do to prepare them is if they're readers, you can write out a schedule, and then you know they'll feel secure knowing what their routine is going to be. Or one thing we used before my son could read was picture schedules, and I know they use them at therapy and at schools too. So you know that gives them security knowing what to expect. Another thing that they draw comfort in is a routine. And of course, traveling, they are going to be out of their routine, but you know, you can try to keep meal times the same and bedtimes the same, and you know, do the same things that you would at the same time of day, and you know, that can provide a little bit of security and stability. And the next thing is we call them our tools. If your kiddos need certain things, bring them with you. Headphones, you know, he uses these sometimes still at school for gym, you know, it's noisy, and this can, you know, help in crowded situations. We also have our chews. You know, this can, you know, provide comfort and a sensory input. And then also the fidget cubes, those are great on planes or, you know, car trips. Once you get over, once you know, are getting to where you're going. And then another thing that is kind of a lifesaver for us is the tablet. Especially when we travel internationally and the television programs are going to be different. My husband's from the UK, so I know some of the shows are different, but they're going to be on at different times. And, you know, maybe there's the certain one that your kiddo is just set on, and it's not going to be on TV, you know, when you're there. And just to avoid any big upsets, you can load the tablet with some of their familiar programs, and you could even show it at the same time they're expecting it to be shown. And we also have a couple of apps on the tablet that will work anywhere we go. And so, you know, that's a big source of comfort as well. And then this one, we learned the hard way. Make sure you're planning some downtime for your special needs kiddo in the trip, because they're going to be getting a lot of stimulation and input, and you know, they need that time to decompress. And so you don't want to be carrying a kicking and screaming kiddo, you know, out of a tourist attraction because you know you've just took them around too much and didn't give them the downtime. So definitely plan some downtime, and it's good for the whole family. Food. Yeah, so whenever we went to the UK, we went with a suitcase basically full of these guys, because, you know, that way I would know that he would have something to eat. He's in feeding therapy, and he is very particular about his foods. And so anyway, we have those in my purse or our backpack at all times. And that way, you know, if whatever restaurant that you're at doesn't have the food food that your kiddo needs, you've brought something that is familiar to them and that you know that they're going to eat, so they're not going to be hungry and cranky. And another thing that you can do is just research. You can research the restaurants, what kind of foods they offer. So again, you know ahead of time if they have something that your kid will eat. But you can also research accessibility. If your kiddo is in a wheelchair, you can know ahead of time what sort of accommodations they have and accessibility for them. And then also a big one for us that we research is, what sort of sensory triggers, bright lights, loud noises, and then, we're making sure we're bringing our headphones or, again, going back to preparation. And that way, if you don't think that they're ready for a certain attraction, you can skip it. But if you think maybe they need just a little bit of preparation, then you can do that ahead of time, and then you can have a more enjoyable trip. And the other thing that we've really learned is flexibility. Everybody is out of their element and, possibly even jet lagged. And so just be flexible. Sometimes, you just need to retreat and get some rest and live to fight another day. We have learned that, it's okay to, leave a particular place and either go back to the hotel and rest, or even, just go find a park, something simple, not too stimulating, and they can, get some sensory input that way. And, just pack your patience and, know that nothing is perfect. Nothing in any kind of parenting is perfect, but especially with a special needs kiddo. So I hope these were helpful, and, definitely give traveling a try. It's been a learning process, but, it's so worth it. We've made some great memories along the way. Thank you.